Our story begins in Peshtigo, Wisconsin, where a boy named Damon Delacroix witnessed a night unlike any other. From his window, he saw a comet shard streak through the evening sky. Wherever fragments from the comet fell, fire erupted. To his terror, in a massive blast and shockwave, the town where his father worked was consumed in an instant. Horror-stricken and terrified, Damon rushed out of the house and rode desperately to reach him, only to find the town itself engulfed in an inferno. Around him, bodies had been reduced to ash, houses were being consumed by flames, and the smell of burning skin and fat being rendered in the flames got stuck in his nostrils. Yet in the middle of all of this fire and suffering, Damon saw horses on Main Street that gathered in a circle around a monolithic shard of the comet. Maddened by the flames around them, they tasted it like a salt lick, their teeth clacking against its otherworldly stone. Within the family's candle shop, Damon found his father seared alive among the wreckage. Crushed by horror and frozen by helplessness, Damon could do nothing but hold his father's hand as he died, yet the heat that radiated off of his burning corpse branded not just the flesh of Damon, but his memory forever. Something passed into Damon that night: grief, trauma, and perhaps something darker that had written within the comet itself. Seeking to escape the trauma and memory, Damon traveled west to Mammoth's Gulch in Colorado. It was a mining settlement that had already become a center for greed and exploitation. He found work in the Oro Gordo mine, a place where the darkness was relentless and superstition ruled without mercy. The miners were seasoned veterans of the trade, and to no surprise, Damon, the newcomer, was victim of both alienation and hazing. The miners would tie dynamite to a dog before handing Damon, the newest and most inexperienced, the match. Not understanding their heartless approach to the mining excavations, he questioned whether what he was about to do was right or not. Yet despite his hesitation, he took the dog's paw gently in his hand, just like he had done with his father, before he lit the fuse and tossed a stick down the tunnel. He listened to the joyous bark of the animal before it was suddenly interrupted by an explosion below. Damon turned to his coworkers and asked why this cruelty was necessary, yet the answer sent a cold chill tingling down his spine. It is so that the things that drink the blood down below does not rise to seek it up here. Over time, Damon was pulled deeper into the practices of the Gulch. Under the guidance of the mine's boss, he participated in ritual sacrifices meant to appease the curses sleeping beneath the earth. Damon was presented with a toothless thief. The boss then handed Damon a token, and with a stick of thorns, Damon was asked to force the stranger to swallow the token before the man would be tossed into a chasm. Lightning struck the derrick, avalanches thundered down the slopes from above, and suddenly oil gushed from dry wells, as if the earth itself had been wounded. However, that was not all, for with each of these sacrifices the miners made, Damon felt something stirring within him, the very same force that had touched him as he embraced his father's hand on that night with the comet. Yet the rituals would continue to escalate. Damon helped press captured men into iron cylinders, their bodies broken and burned, while these odd tokens bound their souls to awareness. These iron cylinders were dropped into boreholes as offerings, and Damon was responsible for recording each experiment. With every cylinder dropped, Damon was burdened more and more by guilt. According to his boss, the intent was to quell the evil below. But something within Damon began to realize a truth. They were not quelling anything. In fact, it seemed that they were feeding it. Damon thought to himself that he was actually preparing the ground for his own undoing. Eventually, Damon could no longer bear the guilt. Since the death of his father, his life had been an endless spiral into torment and anguish, and now he would finally find himself within one of the cylinders he invented. "You've let guilt stain your soul instead of freeing it," the boss told him. "You've taken so many hands in your own, but won't let the Lord take yours." Damon didn't regret his decision. He had freed the group of men that were supposed to be sacrificed the night earlier. Perhaps if they managed to escape the boss's rituals, as well as Mammon's Gulch, Damon hoped that he might find some kind of peace beyond death. Based on his actions, there would be no more ceremonies. The molten metal within the cylinder boiled him to pieces. Flesh was burned, fat was rendered, sinew boiled, and Damon was liquefied. The token that had been given to him before the sacrifice kept him sentient throughout the entire process. He would finally accept punishment for all of the innocent he had sacrificed, and thus he allowed himself to be cast into the deepest of the boreholes. As he fell, he remembered the dog, the thief, and his father's last dying scream. At the bottom of the borehole, he struck an ancient firmament older than both men and beast. The comet's heat inside of him consumed every sacrifice at the bottom of the pit. His lungs became chambers of magma, his bones hardened into basalt, and his body was reforged in fire. Damon Delacroix was no more, and in his place rose the first Hellborn. The aftermath was catastrophic. His emergence shook the entire Colorado Divide. Earthquakes split trees, crushed trains, and avalanches roared down the slopes of the mountains. Witnesses miles away suffered bleeding ears at the sound of his first scream. There was truly no denying that this creature of hell had awoken upon Earth. From that moment, the legends began to spread. Some described the Hellborn as a pillar of flame, a creature that would burn anything in his path. Others swore they saw a figure, humanoid, but screaming with unending fury. Victims would be found fused to the ground, their bodies charred and stuck fast to the very earth they had fallen on. Unlike the immolator, which burns outward, the Hellborn burns from within. Its body produces lava identical to the crust beneath Colorado, and hunters report a constant stench of brimstone around it, while seismographic records shows tremors whenever it screams. Thermometers have been known to rupture when it draws near, and even its spit has been compared to molten stone, leaving behind an orange, gel-like residue. The American Hunters Association's researcher Harold Black observed its behavior as volatile, fast, and dangerously aggressive, and speculated that if it once was human, that its nature had been fused with its personality. Grief, guilt, and rage turned into volcanic violence. Hunters in Mammon's Gulch have encountered the Hellborn in the field multiple times. Among them was a hunter named Jesse Buchanan, a man who spied on the wandering Hellborn at Kingfisher's foundry. Watching the creature, he wondered whether his missing comrade Delacroix had become one of these monstrosities. It is said that the creature's wrath transcends the very realm of Earth, and that hunters can hear its anger call out to them whenever they channel their gift of sight. To some, the Hellborn is only another monster born of the corruption. Yet for those who know the story, it is the story of Damon Delacroix, a man born in grief, branded in fire, and trapped within his guilt. A man who lit too many matches, who carried his guilt for too long, and a man who had no choice but in the end to give his body as the last sacrifice. Hey there, Hazmat here. That covers the story of the Hellborn, but stay tuned for more on Showdown content. If you've enjoyed this episode, then make sure to let me know in the comments below. You can also join my Discord to engage with the rest of my wonderful community, and you can find a link to that in the description below. As always, a big thanks goes out to the Hunters Lounge, specifically the exclusive Johnny Sevens, the exclusive The Coyote, the exclusive Gitchy Boy, the exclusive War Monk, and the exclusive Rat. The VIPs, Corvo Bearslayer, Derivative, Doug Powell, Gino Lucero, Goose, Hambone, Jim and L. Bob, Corey Peterson, Michael Furnell, Mortev Menace, Hein, Slip, Stas Biestic, Sunrise Phoenix, TJ Crane, Texas Toast, and the Wizard of Copper, and of course, all the regulars. If you want to support the ongoing lore, then consider signing up as a member of the Hunters Lounge for as little as a single $1 a month. Link is in the description below. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.